The year is 1521. The place, the city of Tenochtitlan, capital of the Aztec Empire. An army formed by a coalition of Spanish soldiers and several indigenous groups lay a siege on the magnificent city that lasted months, ultimately resulting in the fall of one of the greatest empires of the Americas. This turning point in history was made possible in part by a highly controversial figure, subject of study and discussions for generations, criticized by many and yet pivotal to understanding Mexican culture. ¿Qué pasó, mis queridos historiadores? Welcome to another episode of 5-Minute Flashback. I'm Juan Contreras, and today we're going to talk about La Malinche. La Malinche was born in 1500 in the region of Veracruz, near the Gulf of Mexico. Her father was a cacique, which means that he was the chief or governor of a local city. But when she was still a child, her father passed away, and after some time, her mother remarried. La Malinche was then given up by her mother to a group of merchants who in turn sold her to slavers. Eventually, she was sold to the cacique of Potonchan, a Mayan city where Hernán Cortés, the famous Spanish conquistador, would make one of his first stops in the New World. After Cortés won his first battle in the nearby town of Centla, he and his men returned to Potonchan to take care of their wounded. As it was a tradition among pre-Hispanic cultures, the loser of a battle would bring gifts to the winner. The Spaniards received gold, jewels, domestic animals, and also 20 young women, among them La Malinche. These women would help with domestic services and also act as concubines for the Spaniards. As the Spanish conquistadores moved deeper into today's Mexican territory, they ran into ambassadors sent by Moctezuma II, Emperor of the Aztec Empire, who wanted to know what the Spaniards' intentions were. Cortés tried to get his translator, Jerónimo de Aguilar, who had lived with the Mayans for a time and learned their language, to help him communicate with the Aztecs. The problem was that Aguilar spoke Mayan, but not Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. It is then that La Malinche became of use to Cortés. Her native language was Nahuatl, but the language that she learned in Potonchan as a slave was Mayan. During these meetings with Moctezuma's ambassadors, they would speak in Nahuatl to La Malinche, who would translate to Mayan for Aguilar, who then in turn would translate to Spanish for Cortés. At the age of 19, La Malinche was now Cortés' interpreter, cultural advisor, and concubine. As Cortés got closer to the center of Mexico near the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan, he sought an alliance with the Tlaxcalans, a group that, as most others in the region, had lived under the yoke of the Aztecs. After many battles and a siege on Tenochtitlan that lasted months, the Aztec Empire fell on August 13 of 1521. Cortés and La Malinche maintained a close relationship for some time, and together had a son in 1522, Martín Cortés. Their illegitimate relationship symbolizes the mixing of two cultures and the beginning of the mestizos, meaning those of mixed white European and indigenous ancestry. When Cortés' actual wife arrived to New Spain, as it was called after the conquest, he gave La Malinche to another Spanish man so that they could marry. La Malinche, now a lady called Doña Marina, eventually settled in Mexico City with her husband and her new daughter Maria. No one knows exactly when she died, but it is believed that her death must have taken place before or around 1529, smallpox being a likely cause. There's actually little comprehensive documentation about La Malinche, and her story has been stitched together based on letters, accounts, and contemporary writings. What we do know is that the woman that was born a princess, then became a slave, and eventually a Spanish lady, is often judged harshly by Mexicans and is labeled as a traitor to her people for having helped the conquistadores. However, knowing what we know about her, we can all recognize a brilliant, strong woman, a survivor, and one who would influence the entire nation and culture of my beloved home, Mexico. For more content for all you history enthusiasts, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and give us a heart on Instagram at ZTV 5-Minute Flashback. This is Juan Contreras reminding you to go out, enjoy life, and stay curious.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.